Welcome everyone back to another video on the channel. Trade period opened yesterday. Today's Tuesday, 8th of October, and yeah, so the trade period opened yesterday 9 AM. No action for us yet, but I thought I'd do a quick video basically previewing the trade period with the most recent updates. There's been a couple of new plays we've been linked to, which I'll talk about in a minute, and I think there's also a couple of options that have been ruled out as well. So I think the picture has become a lot clearer for us, and let's just get straight into it. So we'll start by discussing the guys that I think have been ruled out. So I've been talking a bit about Jai Sarong on this channel and on the Instagram. I don't think that's happening anymore. It never was officially reported, so could regard it as fake news, but it did seem a genuine chance a couple of weeks ago. But it seems like we've turned our attention to a different Hawthorn player, which I'll talk about later. So Jai Sarong, I think he's under contract, which is the main reason why we've called on him. I think we probably would have tried to have a look at how much he'd cost in terms of draft capital, and Hawthorn might have demanded too much, and in the end he cost too much, and there are better alternatives who we can get for free. Adam Tomlinson, we'd been linked to early on, but it turns out that he was just the Dougal Howard replacement, so not exactly the battle replacement that I initially thought he was. I thought he'd play the third tall, but it has been reported that we were interested in Tomlinson in case Howard didn't re-sign or left the club. So that seems dead and buried. And obviously James Peatling, my boy, he has nominated Adelaide, so he won't be coming to St Kilda, which is fair enough. I think when I initially raised him as a trade suggestion, I thought we could get him for a third round pick, which was expendable, I thought at the time. But now it seems like Peatling would cost a future second, and I don't think that is worth it. I only would have wanted him if we were playing kind of below market value, and it seems like now Adelaide have to pay up a little bit more with a future second, which looks like being a pick in the 20s next year. So I'm kind of glad that we've avoided that. I'd rather just take that pick to the draft. So those are three players we've been linked to, but are out of the race for now. So we'll move on to the players who could still depart St Kilda. So Tim Membrey, as an unrestricted free agent, he has had interest from multiple clubs, but none of them are very serious about it, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with him. I'm pretty sure he has a deal on the table from us, but he's just exploring his options because we can't guarantee him best 23 AFL opportunities. So Essendon have been linked. I think Carlton have had links, but I think they ruled that out yesterday. Collingwood have had links. I'm not sure why Collingwood aren't pursuing this harder considering their need for key forwards, but those three clubs that have been linked, and none of them seem to be going very hard for him, so he's in a bit of limbo. Ben Paton hasn't had anything rumoured, but I still think he has a bit of currency on the market. I feel like maybe a West Coast or Richmond might be willing to make a late play for him, but this draft is really strong, so I'm not really sure if clubs will be willing to trade a late pick for Paton. The only team is Richmond because they're going to have a ton of picks, and I don't think they'll have enough list spots to fit all those picks in, so I think they'd be the most likely to trade a bit for Paton, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. And then Jack Hayes, he's also out of contract. I don't think he's a free agent though, so we could get something back for him. Port Adelaide have been linked. They're obviously losing Charlie Dixon, but they are recruiting Jack Lukosius, so that might affect the potential deal for Hayes. I don't really know if Hayes would go anywhere else, maybe Collingwood, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. And then Olli Hotton's still in limbo. I think he's being made to wait until the end of trade period to see if he can be re-signed. It does look very unlikely because I've had a look at our list spots, and I just don't think Howe will have a spare spot for Hotton after all the proposed trades and draft picks we might use. So I think Hotton's more unlikely to be offered a contract at this stage. But I think he's still training and everything. He's putting in the work still, so he's doing everything possible to retain a spot on the list. But yeah, it's not looking good for him. So those are the 4 players that mainly have been linked to a departure from St Kilda. With regards to the players we could bring in, so Jack Macrae obviously top of the list. I feel like this could get done for pick 43, and then we'll also get a late pick back in return. Or we could do something like Soldo, which is the ruckman we've been linked to match up with Marshall. We could do a future second for Soldo, and then for a late pick, and then use that late pick plus pick 43 to satisfy Bulldogs for Macrae, and then also get a late pick back from them. So essentially, we're using future second and pick 43 for Macrae, Soldo, and 2 late picks back. So it is, yeah, it's a bit confusing, but I feel like pick 43 is a bit too much for Macrae, in the opinion of the list managers. But then the Bulldogs think he's worth more than pick 43, which is a bit silly because they didn't even play him last year, so how could he be worth anything more than pick 43? And then Soldo, I guess that's fair enough because Port Adelaide paid, I think, a future like a 2nd round pick, a 3rd round pick, and a 4th round pick for Soldo last year, but then they didn't play him, so I guess his value is that, but it's kind of Port Adelaide's fault that they wasted so much capital on him and then didn't play him. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out. I'm pretty sure they're both going to be deadline day deals. Misson went on Trade Radio and talked about how they were basically focused on the draft at the moment and hadn't even started discussions with the other clubs for those players. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those play out. Then Curtis Taylor, so he's been linked with us. Could be an SSP signing or even a delisted free agent. I think it's likely that he is a train-on player with us, so over pre-season he does what Caminiti and Stocker did with us a couple years back. So spend the pre-season with us and then we decide whether we want to sign him on the list. Again, we're tight on list spots, so I'm not sure exactly how he's going to fit in, but we'll just have to see. He probably takes Hotton's spot, to be honest. And then Ethan Phillips, so he's a Hawthorn intercept defender. He was one of the best key defenders in the VFL a couple years back, and then the Hawks signed him at the start of this year as an SSP signing, I think, and then he played 1 game, and now he's been looking around because obviously the Hawks have signed Battle and will sign Barris. So yeah, Phillips, 197 centimeters. He's a solid player. I think he'd just be depth because we do have a bit of a hole in that space. We aren't getting Tomlinson or Sarong, so I think Phillips is a good option just to play his backup. I don't think he will play any more than 5 games unless someone does get injured. But yeah, I think our backline is still Howard, Wilkie, probably Caminiti, and then Cordy as well as backup, and then Phillips as the absolute last resort. So yeah, 4 players who have been linked to us. I don't think we'll be too active in terms of trading in players, but yeah, a few signings who will definitely boost our squad depth and cover some holes that have appeared with departures. That's basically it for the trades. In terms of picks, there has been a new idea I've seen on Big Footy. So this is to try and get us picks 7, 8 and 9. It is to leverage the bid on Kako and try and I guess force the Bombers into giving us a good deal. So the idea basically is, assuming we keep pick 7 and 8, we take pick 7, we pick someone, say Josh Smiley, and then with pick 8 we bid on Isaac Kako, which is a possibility. Even Melbourne up in pick 5 I think have been linked to a potential bid on Kako, so it does make sense. It's not really a reach. And then Essendon then, after having the bid placed on Kako, have to decide whether they match with pick 9, which is a bit silly, or they trade out and then get an extra future first for it. So yeah, I think they would trade out pick 9 at this point, and we could offer them our future first for pick 9. So then we end up with pick 9, they end up with future first, and they match the bid for Kako and only absorb some later junk picks. So that means St Kilda does end up with pick 7, 8 and 9. So we take pick 8, say Toby Travaglia, and then pick 9, someone like Xavier Lindsay or Alex Taru. And yeah, it does sound a bit confusing at first, but I'll try and put something up on the screen to help you guys understand a bit better. But that is the basic idea behind it. So it's basically forcing Essendon to try and make a deal with someone. It might not be us, but it is a nice hypothetical to think about. So that'll probably do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts on whether you guys think these deals will get done. Macrae and Soldo, there's a bit of doubt over them, but I think they'll still get done. Usually these deals always get done. Surely the Bulldogs are not going to hold Macrae to his contract after he's requested a trade. Like, he's done so much for them. Surely they don't screw him over. And then Soldo, well, he doesn't even like Port Adelaide, so I don't know why they'd hold him. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.